Good evening. It's nighttime. Excuse my hot messness. So, I haven't made a YouTube in a minute. I've been working on me. I've been doing Facebook Live. So, anybody who's on YouTube and not on my Facebook, if you want to know what's been going on, you can jump over there. But, so anyway, it's been a minute. And, I was just watching this video, the little reel things on Facebook. And it was a psychologist. And he was talking about if you're with somebody for 6 months, because it's really easy in the first 6 months to say, oh, I love somebody. It's easy to fall in love in the first 5 minutes. It's easy to fall in the first week. And that first, that honeymoon stage, that makes you think you love somebody. Excuse me. But the longer you're with somebody, and the more you start finding out their flaws, the more their true natures really start coming out. Because in the beginning, everybody puts on an act. In the beginning, nobody is who they say they are. I don't know, they might be, but not really. In the beginning, you hide all those negative things about you. In the beginning, if you're a snorer, you don't want to sleep next to the person because you don't want them to know that you snore. Because you just don't want them to know you snore. In the beginning, girls don't want to sneeze or cough or fart or do any of those things because they don't want the guy to think that they do natural things. I mean, that's a thing. But as you get comfortable with the person, well, you're okay. The girl's okay with letting the guy not see him with makeup on. The girl's okay with letting him see him with sweatpants and baggy t-shirts. And the guy's okay with not looking at his best. Further into the relationship, you get more comfortable and your real self starts coming out. So 6 months in, you're laying there and you say, this person's been good to me. This person's shown consistent behavior to show me that they love me, they really care about me, that they really want to be in my life. And my feelings for them are the same, or have built, or have grown. And I really love this person. I really think this person loves me. Or this person's behaviors have been negative, and I don't think I like this person anymore. And then you end the relationship. And for anybody who's dated, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Meet somebody, you get to know them, and you start deciding, do I like them or do I not? And most of the time, if you don't like them, you leave them. Sometimes we get stuck in those bad relationships. But for the most part, those bad romantic relationships, we tend to leave. We tend to get out of the bad romantic relationships. Doesn't mean we won't go find the next one to be just as bad or worse. Maybe not so bad, but still just not be right. But we do tend to get out of those bad romantic relationships. We do tend to get out of those bad friendships. Those are those short term, they only lasted for maybe a few months, a few weeks, or a few years. Now, but he asked another question, this therapist, psychologist guy that I was watching. He said, now, If you can ask yourself that question after 6 months or a year or 4 years and say, does this person love me or do I love this person? Why can you not say, if this person does not love me, why can't you leave? Why can you, if you can say, this person loves me and I'm going to stay, can you not, this person does not love me and I cannot leave? And romantic relationships and friendships are way easier to say, this person isn't healthy for me and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave. I'm going to walk away. But when he said that, there was one type of relationship that he brought up that I'm going to give him his answer. He brought up family. Parents, grandparents, siblings, aunts, uncles. Family. Here is why people who are in relationships with a toxic family member cannot just say, yes, I know their behavior is telling me they don't love me. 95% of the time. I know that 95% of what they do only hurts me. I mean, but they give me that 5%. They still do good things. Here's why. Because as society as a whole, we have this idea shoved down our throats and in our brains that because somebody is blood related to you, because they are what we consider family, we must forgive them for everything they do. That it does not matter what they do, how bad they hurt you. That because they are blood, and they are your family, you are to forgive them. You are to forget anything they've ever done in the past. It does not matter. You are to forgive them and to move on and act like it never happened. And society as a whole has shoved this down the next generation's fucking throat over and over and over again. Because I cannot tell you how many times I have went to tell doctors, children's services, courts, teachers, counselors, therapists, psychologists, every authority figure that a child or even an adult that is in a situation that is dangerous for them. And what I was told repeatedly, that's your mother, it's your family, it's your brother, it's your uncle. Let go of your resentment. It's not resentment. It's fear. I'm telling you, I'm scared to go home. I'm telling you, I don't want to be in that home. I'm telling you that the last place that I want me or my children to have to be in is there. I'm telling you that I am an adult and I want to remove my kids from that house, and you're telling me I'm allowed to leave, but my kids got to stay? Pam is not their mother. I am. She's not their father. I am. I had a safe place for them to go. And the police told me that I was more than welcome to leave, but I had to leave my kids there. So if you want to know why people who are in mentally, emotionally, physically abusive relationships with anybody can't leave, it's because when they reach out for help, they get told stupid shit like, just let it go. Just forget about it. But the best one that I've ever fucking had used against me was my children. Ever. They used my children against me and have still been using my children against me for 23 years. Since I got pregnant. You can go, but the kids are staying. If you take the kids, we'll file police reports against you that you're unstable. Because I want to get away from you. I'm unstable. Because I'm choosing to not stay with you. If that isn't the absolute definition of manipulation, I don't know what is. You can go, but I'm going to keep what's important to you. It took me 22 years. 22 years before I finally got enough guts to fucking leave. And it has broke my heart every fucking day that I've been gone. Because when I left, I did leave my kids. I finally made that choice. I waited until they were old enough to defend themselves. I waited until the oldest two were out of her house. Complete. And the baby's with his dad. We did not realize how important they would become. For a haven for endangered species and a hotbed for scientific research. Because everybody wants to keep throwing it up in my face when I talk to people from back there. That I'd left. You are damn right I left. I've wanted to leave for 39 years. Maybe not that long. 29. Because I started making plans to leave at the age of 10. So let's talk about that. My parents told the youngest two out of my 4 older brothers and me that they were getting a divorce when I was 8, getting ready to turn 9. And when they sat us down in the living room, told us they were getting a divorce and that we were moving. And us moving was nothing. We had moved We felt like we moved like every other fucking week, but it was more like every 6 months to a year and a half or so we moved. I would start, like I started kindergarten at one school, finished kindergarten at another school, started first grade at that same school, went back to the other schools, finished first grade, started kindergarten first. It was a thing. So them telling us we were moving again, that wasn't nothing. Them telling us they were getting a divorce, in a way, me and my brothers were kind of excited about it. It meant they weren't going to be fighting all the time anymore. We were like, oh, cool. Maybe you guys won't be fighting all the time anymore. They said, y'all need to go to discuss within yourselves who's going to go live with who. Go in the bedroom and talk. You know, I guess they think I didn't hear. They made it sound like I had a choice. And the parents said to the brothers, you need to convince her that she needs to live with mom. I never wanted to live with mom. Ever. She was never my choice. I heard the conversation. So when the boys walked in the bedroom and sat down and said, well, Jessica, the girl needs to go with mom. The girl needs to be with the woman. I already knew I didn't have a choice. They just made it sound like I did. So when I hear a parent give a kid a choice, it's not actually a choice. It drives me insane. When you say to a kid, would you like to take the garbage out, when you really mean take the garbage out, don't make it an option. Tell them, take the garbage out. Would you like to go for a walk, when you really want to say, go get your shoes on, we're going for a walk, because it's not an option? Don't make it an option. Don't make it sound like it's an option when it's not. There's a reason why in my head I talk to my kids, and I talk to all kids the way I talk to kids, because adults talk to me in a certain way and then turned around and flipped it. Well, hell, adults have talked to me in a certain way since I've been an adult and then turned around and fucking flipped it. And I hate that shit. When a kid says, hey, where are we going? And I don't want to tell them where we're going because I want it to be a surprise or something. I'll say somewhere. Why? Because I don't like to lie. I know it's sometimes you have to. Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny and all that good shit. I don't like to. I don't like to lie to them and tell them, oh, well, we're going to go to the store, but we're really going to the doctor. I don't like to. So I don't have to lie. Where are we going? Somewhere. Somewhere where? Over the rainbow. It's not a lie. Because a rainbow is what? Pixels of light. And along the way, light fragments through, you're going to have rainbows. Somewhere over the rainbow. We're going somewhere over the rainbow. So I'll even start singing the song to them. It drives them absolutely insane. They're like, can't you just tell us? No. Here's one. Kids need to learn that they're not in control. Why? Because even adults aren't in fucking control. It's a perceived fucking notion. Coming from a control freak. It's a perceived notion. I have control issues. Why? Because I have the perceived notion that I have control over anything. And when in all reality, I have control over nothing. None of us do. You think you do. You think you have control over your vehicle as you're driving down the road? Until something breaks. You think you have control of stopping that vehicle until you hit your brakes on a slick patch of road, And instead of stopping, you go shoop right up into the ass end of the car in front of you. You think you have control over your vehicle? Yeah, you might, but you don't have control over the vehicle that's on right next to you. So you really don't have control. It is a perceived notion. See, and that's the thing. Kids grow up thinking, oh, well, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to have control. I'm going to turn 18. I'm going to control my own life. I get to do what I want to do. Really? Okay, well, what's going on? It's like midnight. It's late. I'm an adult. I still have to watch my tone. Why? Because, I'm in an apartment. There's neighbors. I cannot be screaming. I know I sound a little loud, but it's also because there's no other sound in this apartment. There's nothing on the walls. Look at me. Like, the walls are bare. So there's nothing that stops that echo. So right now, in this room, it sounds loud. But the thing is, if I go in the other room and I shut the door, and I'm in this, or somebody was in this room, and they were talking, I would hear it a little bit. Like, if I'm in here, and Rob's in there, and he shuts the door, yes, I can hear muffled. If he screams, sure. I can kind of hear the neighbors when they get loud. And I can hear them when they walk, sure, because they're above me. Neighbors can't hear me right now. Now, if I wanted them to, they could. But I cannot turn the Bluetooth on right now, speaker, and crank up my music. It's the middle of the week. It's midnight. I'm in the city. I'm in an apartment. There's neighbors. They might not appreciate me listening to any kind of music at midnight when the daughter's got school in the morning. And as of right now, it sounds like he might be asleep. He doesn't always sleep this late. Some nights he's awake, and if he's awake, then he might not mind. Oh, but the neighbor that lives behind us, this is a house turned into 3 different apartments. That neighbor, well, he's got to be at work at, like, I think he leaves out of here at, like, 6 a.m. So he's up at, like, 5. I am definitely sure that at midnight, he don't want me cranking out no music. If I want to listen to music right now, I got to bundle up because it's only 30-something freaking degrees here. Yes, in April 5th. Now that's since after midnight. April 5th in Michigan, and it's only 30-something freaking degrees outside. It is midnight. Tomorrow, well, today, when it gets daylight and that sun comes up, it's going to be 70. Yeah, it's going to jump 40 friggin' degrees. That's what happens when that sun comes up and we are in springtime. It goes from 30 to 70. Crazy. It's about like my moods. Go from freezing cold to warm as hell in about 2 seconds. But seriously, man, like, that guy asked that question. Why can't you walk away? Why can't you say, this is not healthy for me, and walk away? Well, sir. Because we get bullshit shoveled down our throat to tell us that's your family. You gotta love your family. Don't matter what they do. And that, sir, is how, when somebody kills somebody, that, sir, is how serial killers, rapists, all those sick individuals that do some really bad shit, have supporters sitting behind them when they go to trial. It's not that they don't believe that they didn't do it. They believe it. They'll never tell you they did. They don't. They believe it. They know damn well they did it. But more than likely, because of the church. Just saying. It's nothing against the church. It's really not. It's nothing against the church. It's against how people have used the church and perverse the church to tell you, honor thy mother and father. Honor thy parents. Honor thy family. And they seem to think that in the way to do this, that you have to take everything that they give you. You have to take it all. You have to take it all, and take it all, and take it all. They can beat you. They can degrade you. They can make you feel like you are literally worthless. They can show you the smallest bit of empathy. They can feed off of the pain they cause. And we are told that we have to take it. So that when people look at us and say, well, why do you put up with that? The number one answer is always, but that's my mom. But that's my dad. Oh, but that's my sister. But that's my brother. And I really got tired of saying it about my own family. I really got tired of having to warn people before they met my family. And then I really got ashamed of when I would introduce people to my family and we would leave and people would look at me like, wow. So, let's do this story. My youngest son, the day I had him, should have been a great day. I had been put in the hospital for about 2 weeks on preterm labor. And I'd been released out on a Thursday. It would have been October 18th. I got released out from UC Medical Center. And they were like, okay, well, you're just going to go home. And if you go back into labor, you know, try to get here or get to a medical facility as fast as possible. But just go home on bed rest. And I looked at him and I laughed. And I said, you're going to send me home and I'm going to have this baby by the end of the weekend. And they said, no, you're not. Yeah, I am. You're going to send me home. I'm going to have this baby by the end of the weekend. And my nephew's mom ended up coming and get me because I was at UC, but I lived down in the Maysville area, Maysville, Kentucky area, which was an hour outside of Cincinnati. And my family lived in Hamilton, Ohio, which is just north of Cincinnati. So my brother's ex-girlfriend, well, she's deceased now, but And my brother's girlfriend at the time came and picked me up. And I went and stayed with them for a couple of days until I could get back to Maysville because, like I said, it was an hour outside of Cincinnati. It was almost a 2-hour drive away from where they lived at. So I was with them. I was supposed to go back down there on Sunday when another brother was going back down because he was working down that way. And so Saturday morning happens to be sweetest day of 2007. I wake up, don't feel right. And I'm about maybe 15 minutes. My brother's girlfriend comes out. She hands me a phone. She said, "Oh, baby's dad tried to call." I said, "Okay, well, hold on a minute because I'm only going to say this once." And I got him on the phone and I got her. I told him, I said, "Well, do whatever you need to do and you need to head up this way." And I looked at her and I said, "You do whatever you need to do and we need to go to the hospital." She said, "Why?" I said, "Because I've been up for 15 minutes and I've had 5 contractions. They are literally 3 minutes apart. We need to go." And so we get to the hospital. Baby's born. They take him into the nursery because he is 8 weeks premature. He weighs 4 pounds, 4 ounces. But he is breathing on his own because I had those set of steroid shots. We knew I was high-risk pregnancy, obviously. But he is breathing on his own. Things are looking good. But they take him to the nursery to do all the tests and everything, get him all cleaned up. So the baby's dad and the baby's grandma and grandpa, the baby's dad, his mom and dad show up. And they are at the nursery window. Pam and my stepdad show up. They meet at the nursery window. So me and the son's dad had a deal. I had 2 sons, and then he had 2 daughters. So when we had the ultrasound done, we made a deal. If it was a little girl, I got to name it. Just because I had already had 2 sons, and I didn't have a daughter. He had 2 daughters. He got to help name the daughters. He gets to name the son. Or he didn't get to help name the daughters. The girls' moms picked the names or whatever it was. So he gets to name the son. I wanted to name the daughter. I mean, it was just, we had to agree. Whatever the names were, it was, and then we're like, he couldn't name him some funky ass name, or I couldn't name some funky name, that we had to agree upon the name. But it was still, he got to pick the name. So he picked our son's name. Well, Pam thought that because of how close I was with my uncle, and she's not 1,000% wrong, because of how close me and all of my brothers are with my one uncle, that should have named one of the kids after my uncle. Okay, you gotta remember, I already had 2 sons before this. She has never once, with those 2, ever mentioned naming one of my kids after her brother. 2 boys, 2 sons already. She never said nothing. Never once in those 2 births did she ever say you should name one of the boys. You should put Robert in there. Never. Not one single time. In all of the conversations in 2 freaking pregnancies, and if you've ever had a kid, then you freaking know, names is a thing. It's like a huge conversation that you have multiple times about what are you going to name the baby? 2 pregnancies, and she never said you should name the baby after your uncle. She never said anything in the entire pregnancy of my 3rd pregnancy that I should name the baby after my uncle. She shows up to the hospital after I just gave birth to a premature baby, after being in the hospital for 2 weeks, after getting sent home for 2 days and then giving birth. Shows up to the hospital, walks in the room because she finds out his name, and the first thing she does, "I can't believe you're letting him name the baby that." Yeah, you would think my son's name is some fucked up, weird. My youngest son's first name is the same as her second son's first name. It's the same as one of my brothers. Christopher. Yeah. She came in screaming and yelling at me as I was in a hospital bed after literally just gave birth like 20 minutes beforehand. With no epidural, no locals, no medications. Had only been awake for an hour. My bad. I'd only been awake for maybe an hour and a half. I don't even know how the hell they got up there that fast. Or 2 hours or whatever it was. I mean, it had been an exciting little morning. Really seriously exciting little fucking morning. And the first thing that she says to me is she calls me a bitch and says that I'm, what was the word she called me? Disrespectful. And pretty much that I didn't care about my uncle because I didn't name the baby after him. And, it was some shit. And she did this in front of my son's dad and his parents. And for once, my son's dad's mom, so my son's grandma, had looked straight at me and said, "You know what, Jessica? All these years, I thought you were over-exaggerating how bad your mom was. I'm sorry." Because hospital staff had to come in and ask my mother to leave. Within an hour of my son being born, hospital staff had to come in my room and ask my mother to leave the room because she came in and within 5 seconds was yelling over the baby's name. And not because we named him some weird, crazy name. Christopher James. Not a weird, crazy name. Family names. His dad's brother's name was Christopher. My brother's name is Christopher. His dad's name is James. His grandpa. My son's grandpa. Family names. Biblical names. But we didn't name him Robert. And it pissed her off. And yet, on the same hand, there has been times when I had absolutely nowhere else to go. It was either her house or a homeless shelter. And now, at this point, if that's my options again, I'll take the homeless shelter or under a bridge. Because that is my options now. I don't. After the last time that I got put into the predicament of I had nowhere else in that area to go, her house or a homeless shelter, I should have went to the homeless shelter. I would have been safer. I should have went and stayed down by the river. I would have been safer. And the sad thing is, nobody should ever have to say they'd be safer. Staying at a homeless shelter? Or down by the river? Under a bridge? Or actually down by her house, it's not even by a bridge. It's down by the river on a freaking dirt riverbank. Then staying at their mother's house. Because they cannot trust their mother to not let your brother walk right up in her house and run it like he is the one who pays the bills. Because that's the one, that's that. Now that, I can't understand. He was there that day. He doesn't live there. He doesn't pay the bills there. His name's not on the lease. He has his own place. He is not even the property management for that property. He works for BB Rents. He doesn't work for Countryside Village. So where, in what galaxy, what multiverse, what universe did David Mark think that he had a right to come into Pamela's house, who her and Jerry just said 2 days before, Jessica, you know you can always have a safe place to stay here. You know, if you ever need a place to stay, you can stay here. But 2 days later, she let him, her son, walk up in her house and tell me to get the fuck out. Like his name is on that title. Like he's the one that pays those bills. Like he's the property management and the homeowner and the bill payer for that place. Because the last time I checked, Jerry's name is on that title. Jerry's Social Security check pays those bills. Jerry's the one that sits down and pays those bills. Because Pam don't even do that. Hell, Pam don't even have the actual right to tell me to get the hell out of that house like she did that day. She thinks she does. Because she has a fucking marriage certificate that says she's married to the man. So let's go over these rules again. Just because you're married to somebody does not give you a hell of a right about anything. And I don't give a fuck which one of you are seeming to think this. Let's get this right, Jerry and Pam. Just because you're married doesn't give her a right for shit. Hey, Jerry, your credit cards have your name on them. She doesn't have a right to your money. It's yours. Social Security check comes to Jerome, not Pamela. She has her own. If you two separated today, she would walk away with hers. You would walk away with yours. And you would get the trailer and the car. She would walk away with all her garbage. And her piece of shit sons. You would still get the good ones. You might want to start thinking about this. Mister, but I love her. Stop lying. Stop lying to me. Stop lying to her. Stop lying to your fucking self. Go look yourself in the fucking mirror and tell yourself, I need to stop lying. You feel stuck. And you don't want to have to get up and make your own fucking food. And you don't want to have to get up and get your own goddamn water. Stop lying. And stop being so fucking lazy. God damn. You know what I mean? I know. But you all piss me off. Jerry, you stood there. You stood behind them. And I get you were between a rock and a hard place. You didn't know what to do. But you did. And you made the wrong choice. And you continually make the wrong choices over and over and over again. And yet, you seem to think you have a right to judge me. Sir Jerome, Mr. Francis, I hate to tell you this, but your parents would be ashamed. Actually, your parents would be ashamed of you and Mike, and it has nothing to do with Mike's sexuality and why they would be ashamed of Mike. It has to do with his behaviors. And yours. They'd be proud of Dave. Honestly. Sorry to tell you. I remember, Mr. I will never live like white trash. How's it feel to eat your words? Just saying. For the man who I can remember teaching me so much. All those lessons went flying out the window. Every bit of respect went flying out the window when you became a hypocrite. You know, a long time ago, my respect for Pam went flying out the window. The more I learned about her true nature, the less respect I had for that woman. And I had respect for you for a long time. But when they say, why can't you walk away? It's because we are shoveled with, that's your family. I get to say, that's my blood. And that's the people they married. And yeah, they've done some good for me. But y'all did a lot of damage. A lot. And I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to undo all of it. What I do know is that that man is absolutely correct when he says that if we can walk away from a romantic love that isn't healthy for us, and if we can walk away from friendships that aren't healthy for us, if we can walk away from jobs that aren't healthy for us, well, then we can walk away from blood that isn't healthy for us too. Because regardless of what the fucking relationship is, if it's hurting you, leave. I don't care if it's your mom. I don't care if it's your brother, your sister, your dad, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, best friend, boyfriend, husband, wife. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It is a bullshit line to say, well, that's your family. Because if it's your family, well, family looks out for you. Family wants what's best for you. Family doesn't want you to party if they know that you have a problem. Family would rather you sit at home. Family doesn't want you to go out and spend money if they know you're trying to save for something that's important. Even if they want to spend time with you, if it's important to you and they know it, they want to help you save to get to that goal. Or they're going to help you get to that goal one way or another. Family helps you reach your goal. Family supports you. Family lifts you up. Family tells you when you say you want to go back to college regardless of your age, that you absolutely can. Family tells you that there's nothing that's impossible. Family reminds you you're unsinkable. Family does not beat you down. Family does not let others hurt you. Family does not degrade you. Blood might. Strangers, other people. Not family. Family is who's there when you're in trouble. Family is who you call when you need a ride at 3 a.m. And they're there. They pick up the phone. They get up even if they don't want to. They might bitch about it, but they are there at 3 a.m. to pick you up from the bus station. Family is who just knows that something is wrong, so they call. Family is who sends the message that says, I hope everything's okay. That's family. Blood can ignore you. Blood can go months and never think twice about you. You actually do get to choose your family. You're born into blood. You get to choose your family. Choose wisely. Apano. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive. Thank you. Y'all have a great day.